So you have a SIPmath model using the free version of the tool. And now you really want to do multiple experiments, but it's not available to you using SIPmath. How can you do that? Well, let me show you how. First of all, I'm going to start with a blank worksheet. And we're going to initialize this, and we're going to generate a normal distribution. So we'll just put a normal here, and we'll put a standard deviation here of 3, or excuse me, a mean of 3, and a standard deviation of 3. All right, and we'll form that random variable, SIPmath, define inputs, normal with a mean of 3 and a standard deviation of 3. We'll say OK. So we now have a random variable here that's normal. But what I really want to do is I want to do a sensitivity using multiple experiments. So we need to put together the multiple experiment matrix. Okay. First of all, what mean values do we want to look at? So let's say we wanted to look at 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, something like that. Okay. Now, when we talk about multiple experiments, the way I like to do it, doesn't have to be done this way. I like to use numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's going to be a used column. Okay, a used column. All right. And so the used column, let's put in a 5 here just for to pick the last one, because when SIPmath does this, it always ends up with the last one, but the way we're going to be doing it won't. Anyway, in any case, now we want to do an index of these, comma, that 5. And so it should come up with an 8. Okay, that's fine. This is going to be our value measure. So what I like to do is I like to establish a value measure here that we're going to use in the, we'll just put it like equal that. And that way, if I had multiple variables up here, I could just change this value measure and the multiple experiments would work. It wouldn't be tied to a particular variable here. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We're going to take this PM table, which is kind of ill-defined right now, and I guess I'm going to delete all that because I want to use this this area over here, and I need to put in the let's put in a 3 here, and this is going to be called, I'm going to call this the ME index, okay, underscore ME index. And the values that ME index is going to take are going to be equal to whatever values I had over here to use. This can be equal to the 1, and then I'll just copy that across. All right, not that 0. Now these are going to be inputs as well. Oops, home. These are going to be inputs as well, so let me highlight those as yellow so we know that those are inputs. And so this is going to be PM index. This is PM index, just so we're clear. Remember, PM index goes back to our normal distribution. Now we need to define our two-way data table. Oh, we need to put our value here. This is the value measure we want to capture. So that's going to be equal to our value measure. So now we're going to highlight. This goes over to G. So I'm going to hit N down, and then we're going to go over to G. So now I have this whole table selected to include the input variables, okay? I go to Data, What If, Data Table. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing. What it wants to point to here are these two variables, but which one do I use? The column is asking which variable is controlled by the column. So it's going to be this one here. And the row is going to refer to this one. So this is going to be the ME. Now if I've done this right, this table is going to populate when I hit the OK button. And there we go. So now we've got that done. We want to calculate the mean value, mean of the sampling, okay? Do it that way. This is the mean value inputs, okay? So over here we're going to say equals average. Now, if I was using the enterprise version, I'd actually have a range name and I could point to something, but I don't have that without the SIPmath Enterprise version. So I'm just going to come over here and highlight this whole column. So I'm going to take the average of this SIP. That's exactly what SIPmath is doing. And now I can actually just copy that across. And there are our values. And why aren't they calculating? Oh, let's see, we forgot to do something here. We forgot to tell the mean to be equal to the mean value input that we wanted to use, right? So I'll hit that again. Oh, we have to do one more thing. This value used has to equal to our ME index. There we go. Now we got some reasonable answers. So one of the advantages of SIPmath is because it's always updating. You can tell if it's wrong, you need to correct something. So these are both inputs over here. The PM index, just to summarize, is going over to our normal distribution that we generated with SIPmath in the free version. Over here, this ME index is going over to our variable here that's controlling which mean I'm going to use, or set of variables. And the one that's selected is going up to where it feeds into. And the value measure that's calculated here is going back over to this corner here. So that's how we can generate do multiple experiments without the SIPmath tools. We could also calculate the P10 and P90 here. Hope you found this useful. Thank you.